Labour MP, Shadow Northern Ireland Secretary Peter Keir joins us from College Green in Westminster. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Julia.
Thank you very much. Very well indeed. Thank you very. I'm very happy today. I'm quite pleased with what we saw yesterday. Are you quite pleased with it? Do you support what Rishi Sunak has done?
I am, Julia. It's nice to be on the same page with you and to celebrate the advancement we have, because what we have is a deal that corrects much of the damage that was caused by the previous deal, which of course was negotiated and supported by Rishi Sunak. So it is great that finally we can have sausages that are going to be bought in Belfast and have the same sausages that are eaten in right across the United Kingdom and in Birmingham as well. So look, many of the challenges that were caused by the previous protocol have been solved, and that is good news. So now we need to make sure that we can give the DUP and the unionist movement some time and space to look at the deal, to ask the questions about the deal, because now we need to make sure that we can get devolved government up and running in Northern Ireland. That's the next challenge that we have.
I mean, fundamentally, yes, this isn't just about the trade and it isn't just about the Stormont break. It is about getting the Northern Ireland power sharing back up and running. There'll be a lot of people listening to this. I've got a lot of Brexiteers among my audience. A lot of people have tweeted in and texted in and made this point. You know, it's a bit darn rich for Remainers like yourself to be saying, well, there was this terrible deal, Northern Ireland Protocol, Boris Johnson signed it, Rishi Sunak was in government, he signed off on it as well, got us into this mess in the first place. Isn't the reason we're in this mess that people like you, and indeed your party leader Keir Starmer, worked with the EU against the UK to undermine the democratic vote for Brexit, to try and prevent it, got us into the horrible quagmire of 2018 and 2019, which was only broken by that landslide victory for Boris Johnson with the mandate to get Brexit done? And if actually everybody had said, we accept the result of that referendum in 2016 and we're going to basically all work together to get a great trade deal, good relations with the EU, we wouldn't have got ourselves into this mess at all. Aren't you partly to blame?
Julia, the Labour Party, other parties, including the DUP, we all tried to put national interests first. We tried to fight for what we believed was in the national interest. Now,
undermining
the DUP
a democratic
and the
vote.
Labour Party, the DUP and the Labour Party voted against the protocol because we saw the damage that it would do to trade within the United Kingdom. So I don't think that was playing politics at all. That was actually putting national interest first. And of course, had we been listened to back then, we wouldn't have needed 2 years of acrimonious negotiation just to get back to the start line again, because that's where we are now, don't forget. All this deal does is correct some of the damage done by the previous deal. People like myself, the Labour Party and others, including parties we don't agree with, like on social issues, like the DUP, we all fought for a different way forward. But we are where we are. Julia, we have accepted this deal. We will vote for this deal because it does take us forward.
Okay.
What Rishi Sunak has said, he has demonstrated, is that actually negotiating and talking delivers more than rowing does. So I hope the other thing that we can both agree on, Julia, is let's have a functional relationship with the EU. Let's restore the relationship with the United States and our other allies as well, because now that we're restoring functional dialogue with the EU, it opens up other opportunities for us. Let's focus on that and get that back, hopefully,
you say that.
to Labour's 10-year programme of renewal.
Okay, you say that the damage done by the previous deal, which you didn't vote for, I accept that. However, that damage was done by the EU. The EU, to which you hold such a candle, decided to impose these rules, impose this absurd level of customs checks, quite deliberately, as a punishment meeting to punish the people of Britain for voting for Brexit, and of course to punish Boris Johnson. You say that we negotiating and talking, and there's no doubt I was very, very impressed with Rishi Sunak's manner and tone yesterday, very conciliatory, and I think everyone was noting of that. But that implies in some way that Boris Johnson, for whom I do not hold a candle, by the way, that he in some way was promoting rows with the EU. On the contrary, he resisted numerous attempts to rile him. The insults from the EU, the threats from the EU to impose a hard border, the outright insulting, provocative comments from Emmanuel Macron, the cutting off threats to cut off electricity to the Channel Islands. I mean, again and again and again, provocation from the EU or from France met with calm, no, it's fine, we'll just see this through. The idea that Boris Johnson provoked this treatment from the EU is pie in the sky.
The protocol was the idea of the Tory government. It was negotiated and proposed by the Tory government. It was signed by the Tory government, and now we spent 2 years trying to negotiate change with the EU for the deal that this government proposed, negotiated and signed. So I don't think we're without agency when it comes to the challenges that we've faced as a country. But I'm really pleased that Rishi Sunak now has spent a lot of effort, a lot of time trying to heal the damages and correct some of the damages to our own United Kingdom that the protocol they suggested and negotiated has caused to our United Kingdom. So I'm really pleased we can move forward now. The Labour Party will supply the votes that we need to get this through Parliament should they need it. But getting this deal onto statute is not going to be the big problem because Labour Party will supply the votes. The big challenge we now face is to make sure that the devolved administration in Northern Ireland is up and running. That's a more tricky issue in many ways, and I really wish Rishi Sunak the best in his negotiations and his discussions today in Northern Ireland, and I'm pleased he's there to do so.
Some rather cynical Brexiteers, and one can understand the cynicism given what's happened in the last 7 years, fear that actually the EU quite happy to negotiate right now because we're not going to be seeing massive changes in our tax policy, cutting tax, becoming, you know, Singapore of the West and attracting investment and free trade that way. And we're not going to get the benefits of Brexit. And actually they're counting on the fact that, well, the polls are suggesting you're going to be in office along with Keir, Starmer and others in a year or so's time. And they're just going to wait it out because they think that a Keir Starmer-led British government is going to want to negotiate even closer ties with the EU. Are they right?
Well, the UK government and the EU working together in a functional way has just delivered really significant progress in healing the damage that the protocol has caused to our United Kingdom. Now, what the Labour Party wants and what Keir Starmer has set out is a 10-year programme of renewal for our country based on 5 missions. That means getting our economy growing again, having the fastest growing economy in the G7, making sure that our public services are up and running again, both in health and education.
How are you going to do that?
Making sure that we are a clean energy superpower. So yesterday Keir set out how we're going to do that. We're going to make sure that we get growth by investing with our green investment pledge. But look,
we haven't actually got any. We've got some lovely flowery words, Peter, but we haven't actually got any meat on the bones. And as you know, you're going to arrive in office with the cupboards bare.
What we have, Julia, is a vision, and we have a whole set of policies, including the Green Investment Pledge, a £28 billion multi-year investment programme to make sure we can recapitalise our economy, invest in our economy so we can make sure that we're a green superpower. These are the sorts of things that Biden is doing in America, the EU is doing across its 27 nations. We need to make sure that we're keeping up and we're investing in and making sure that our economy is fit for the future.
Peter Kyle, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much. Shadow Northern Ireland Secretary Peter Kyle joining us there from College Green.